Good evening. I'd like to call this regular city council meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Dennehy.
Here.
Councilmember Schmischer.
Here.
Councilmember B. Smith. Absent. Councilmember Stein.
Here.
Councilmember Tracy.
Here.
Councilmember Worthington.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here. Let's all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Yeah, I don't see our pastor here. The first few minutes of city council we always dedicate to the opportunity for our citizens to address city council on anything that is not on our agenda. We do have 2 requests to speak to council, and the first one that came in order was Rick Ratzlaff. And I'd like to invite you up. You have a timer for 3 minutes. It starts at green. Is it like 30 seconds left? It turns to yellow, then red is your time. Is that-
Okay. I first like to address the council. We got a lot of problems in town. I did meet with Brandon before this fence ordinance came into play on our fence issues. It's not safe for the public. It's not safe for a dog in a yard. We got a real problem with that. I know you guys are seeing that now. He was supposed to get back to me, never did. I've got problems with the mayor. I made numerous appointments to see you. You're always on vacation. You stood me up like 3 times. Ryan, I'm a taxpayer. I feel you should be talking to the taxpayers. I've tried to make appointments with you. You failed to even talk to me. We got a big problem with Kathy. I don't know if you guys have seen her reviews or not. There's not a good one on there. And none of the contractors even want to work with her in this town. And it's going to hurt the town a lot more. No one even wants to build a house in this town. They would rather build it in the county because she is the devil. All you councilmen are letting the whole city down. There's a lot of problems here. I feel you're not looking at anything. Everything is being ignored. And I feel our town has gone down the tubes lately. And I think you all need to pick it up a little bit. And I'm a taxpayer, and when I'm asked to talk to somebody in the city, my taxes are paying you, you should do it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Just for the record, I did offer to meet with Rick Ratzlaff one time. I was out of town, but we had never made an appointment to meet again, although I have always returned his phone calls when given. Next up is Jasmine Riley, and the same standard applies. We keep it the same for everybody. A green light means go. Actually, green light comes
just
off.
when I start talking, it'll
Yes, it'll
go?
go when you
Oh,
start
okay. I was
talking.
like
Yeah, sorry
waiting for
about
you
that.
to go, and then me. I was like, who starts?
Just go.
Okay. My name is Jasmine Riley. I live in the city, 801 Whipple Avenue. I'm here. I feel a little silly to bring this to city council, but I guess that's what we're supposed to do. I have backyard ducks. Code enforcement has contacted me regarding those. I think I've sent all of you an email about it. So I just wanted to read my email just in case you hadn't had the opportunity to read it. And I hope I don't get emotional because I feel a little emotional about this. Okay. That would cut into my time. So I just said, I'm contacting you regarding the city's policy regarding ducks residing in city limits. Before the code enforcement contacted me, I didn't realize that ducks weren't allowed. I just kind of assumed chickens and ducks kind of went hand in hand, but I was wrong. And I was kind of going off the 5 number. I only have 4 ducks. But anyway, I was contacted by code enforcement on the 26th, and they told me I needed to get rid of my ducks because I was breaking city code. Of course, I was a little shocked of that. I did call Patrick at the city building, who then said, yes, that is the policy. And so he told me this is where I should go. I did not have time until today. So anyway, and he also said it's been brought up before and been denied, but I don't know which of you were on the board at that time, or maybe you've had a change of heart about ducks. I don't know. So while I'm not privy to the previous discussions regarding backyard ducks versus chickens, I've done some reflecting about why people might not want ducks as opposed to chickens. One thing I think we can all agree, like ducks and chickens are pretty close, not close to cows. I don't think we're on like a slippery slope here to be bringing in cows next and goats. And then I found some articles because I typed in like, are ducks louder than chickens? There were many articles from the barn magazines and things that said, if you want a quiet animal, choose ducks over chickens. And I was like, yay, point. So anyway, oh, and then I said the bird flu came with the chickens last year, and that was a big issue. But there hasn't been an issue like that for ducks, so another point for ducks. Anyway, I just would like to see if we could reconsider adding ducks. I know that the city's concerned about having maybe a slippery slope there, but I really think ducks and chickens are pretty close. So thanks, and I'd be willing to open a discussion or find research if you want me to, or whatever you want. So thank you.
Jasmine, thank you for being here and for coming with some research that you've done on your own. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Does council have anything they wish to say or advise?
I do.
First, we have Council Member Tracy, then Schmischer.
I just want to say thanks for coming. I hope that we do re-examine the issue. I don't know, I wasn't here before a year ago, so I don't know what the discussion was in the past about disallowing ducks and then allowing chickens. It's funny, what pops into my mind is that when I was a kid, a long time ago, in a state far away, we had ducks, and I don't remember them being a problem at all. I think we had 7. So anyway, I just hope that we do look at that. I don't know what others on the council think about that.
Schmischer, then Dennehy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would just like to echo Councilwoman Tracy's comments. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for caring and being passionate about your pets. I also think it would be a fantastic idea to re-examine the issue. I really appreciated the work that Administrator Stevens and the city staff did to kind of research what other municipalities around us have done around this issue, and it seems like it is kind of a split vote. So I think split decision as to what other municipalities have done, but maybe you could refresh us a little bit on that if you have it offhand. Otherwise, I just think it would be wonderful to re-examine the issue and kind of get a current pulse on council's thoughts. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to try and remember what I can offhand. It's been a little while since I looked at that. I do remember that some of the municipalities were like us. They treat ducks as livestock. There were some that carved out a space for them as backyard fowl with chickens and ducks, and then there were some that they just didn't allow anything. So it really was kind of split into those 3 categories, and I don't want to say it was equal, but there was a fair amount in each bucket. Some of our initial research into this, there are some differences between ducks and chickens, primarily being how much space they need, and I don't know that you can go 1-for-1 chickens to ducks and things like that, but typically ducks need a little bit more space, square footage and stuff like that as far as the housing goes and things like that. But those happy to do some additional research if that's what council's direction is.
Councilmember Dennehy.
Whoop, there we go. Thank you for coming. I kind of agree. We need to re-examine this, and I'm going to say something. Before I was on council, and maybe years back, I had ducks within city limits. And
This doesn't surprise me.
yeah, I know. Had hogs too, but I don't do that anymore either. So, but I agree with you. I still occasionally get a duck for something, and I don't see much difference between a duck and a chicken. I really don't. Even size-wise, I mean, some ducks are smaller than chickens. There's some chickens that are a lot bigger than any duck. And And they are quieter. I agree with what you said there, absolutely. Ducks are quieter. And I think it's something we absolutely need to re-examine, because if we're going to allow chickens, I think we should absolutely allow ducks. And also in the meantime, as we're looking at this, and I don't know if this would be a possibility, I think we need to see if we can make some type of a stay so her ducks are okay for right now.
I would echo that.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When I grew up over in Southern California, we had a neighbor that raised pheasant, quail, and other game birds in a small plot of land. And the problem, you know, I'm not necessarily opposed to ducks, but it's going to be awfully hard, I think, for us to draw a line somewhere. Is what happens. And I certainly understand, and I think I would probably be in favor after a little bit of study, finding out, perhaps doing something for ducks. But I don't think that we should ignore then other citizens that may want to raise other types of fowl for whatever purpose, food or whatever. But I do know that way off the end of the scale are peacocks. So,
Well,
I saw one.
And just to go back before I was on council, I had peacocks as well.
They're not quieter than ducks.
if you want to hear something eerie, hear a peacock in the fog. You'll swear it's a young child in deep danger. Thank you.
Interesting. So we don't want to allow any animals that sound like a child in danger in the fog of night.
No.
So we can set that as a bar for sure. Probably, well, you never can say for sure. So there have been emails sent. It seems like back and forth. It seems like the magic thing happened when you came to address council in person. We got our at least 3 who had a desire to explore this further, and so we will advise to have a little deeper dive, probably bring it to one of our Wednesday meetings to have further discussion. We'll ask our city clerk, Cindy Foster Owens, to make sure you're contacted when that date is so that you can be present and gather your other pro-duck friends if they wish to attend and have a say. I'm Councilmember Schmischer.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. I did just want to check in on Councilmember Dennehy's request about kind of current code enforcement efforts to see what the possibilities there are. I would hate for us to bring this before council, have somebody have to get rid of their ducks or have to kind of go through a protracted legal process only for us to then allow it. So just curious as to what the options may be.
I won't speak for Ryan, but from my perspective, I don't think that the city prosecutor or our office wants to take on a prosecution when council is seriously considering a change.
And I think that there's a that's been the normal procedure in the past. So we are good for now with ducks. Councilmember Stein.
I'm a farm girl. I've grown up with every kind of fowl you can think about, including peacocks. And I think if we look at ducks versus chickens, we need to bring everything in at the same time, because some night we'll have someone come in here and stand up there and be really upset because we've asked them to get rid of their pot-bellied pig, or because, people love their pets. And everyone has a reason for that. And so I would encourage us, when we do take a look at it, and I think we definitely should, we should take a look at what other kinds of barnyard type animals people do keep as pets.
May I? Mm-hmm. And I think one other thing is, as we're looking at this, and I know this happens throughout the whole city, and just in my case, my fence line and my hayfield and everything, one fence line can put a peacock right next to me. And it's still going to be within, sound is in the city limits. It's not different. If I had my pen next to that fence or right there, it's within 20 feet. And, that's just something also, just something for us to kind of consider. And I do agree with you. Absolutely. There are so many, I know people with guineas in town. until I was on council, I never knew any of this was, and I don't mean that smart, because I think most citizens don't come and read this, and I'm sure you didn't know about this or that till somebody reported you or something like that. I mean, like I said, I had peacocks, I had, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, and I'm gonna leave it at
Quit
that.
digging your
Yeah,
hole.
no, I said I had, past tense.
Yeah.
Sure, okay, that's it. But anyways, I think I agree with Andrea that we really need to look at all this.
I would say in my 7+ years, I do not have a recollection of a duck conversation on council, but I do have a recollection of a potbelly pig discussion that was had pretty thoroughly. For me, I'm kind of mixed. I kind of prefer to maybe take baby steps on things instead of like opening a Pandora's box of stuff. But I don't know. That's for the council to decide. For now, we'll start with chickens and go from there. Otherwise, we're going to have all kinds of research for you to be doing.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation, is if we could start with the ducks, because if we're going to open it up to a wider range, we're going to push back that meeting.
Yeah,
Because we'll have to
that's
do
a
additional
whole bunch more.
research.
For the pigs, what I remember more, well, maybe that fad isn't as popular now as it was back when we had that conversation, but they get really big and there's a lot of problems with being able to rehome them and stuff. But anyways, that's a start. So, congratulations on being an advocate for change in our community. It is time for council member announcements. Do we have any? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have a Vision Committee meeting this Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about energy and electricity and our Canyon City Energy Franchise Committee. And that's Wednesday at 5 in these chambers.
Excellent. Councilmember Schmischer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As the city's representative to the Library and Museum Board, I did just want to flag that this Wednesday at the library is a listening session with Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser about the proposed grocery store merger and its potential impact on Fremont County residents. So again, that's on Wednesday between 4 to 5 p.m. with the Colorado Attorney General. Thanks.
Thank you for that reminder. And Councilmember Schmischer, you're also on the Boys and Girls Club board, is that right? Would you like to announce that exciting grant?
I was on the Boys and Girls Club board. I recently stepped down, but it is incredibly exciting that they were awarded $500,000 from the
a big
Colorado opioid settlement monies to expand their work and educational programming, prevention programming around drug use and abuse. So wonderful news.
That's totally awesome. Councilmember Dennehy.
And I'm on the GIS board, and the county is in the GIS system for the mapping. They've just about got everything squared away, or so they hope, from when the county had their crash. And they really are, and they're doing some retraining on a couple things, but they are basically just about there.
Okay, any other announcements? All right, then we will move on to our consent agenda. Ryan Stevens, if you will.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Item 7A is to approve the minutes from the regular city council meeting on March 6th, the general government on March 8th, and the special meeting, which was the Energy Committee meeting on February 27th. 7B authorizes the city administrator to sign an easement agreement with Fremont Sanitation District. 7C awards change order to bid 2520 for an additional $11,500 above the approved original bid. 7D awards bid 1723 tree pruning and removal to Colorado Tree Solutions in an amount not to exceed $100,000. 7E awards bid 3623 traffic paint to Colorado Paint Company in Denver in an amount not to exceed $17,000. 7F awards bid 3723 for magnesium chloride, dust suppressant, and winter liquid deicer to GMCO Corporation in an amount not to exceed $21,000. 7G awards bid 3823 for a 2023 Chevrolet Colorado 4x4 crew cab work truck to Daniels Long Chevrolet in an amount not to exceed $34,995. 7H awards bid 3923 for a 2025 tandem dump truck for water distribution to McCandless Truck Center LLC in an amount not to exceed $197,254.61. 7I is to receive and file a monthly budget summary for January. And 7J is to receive and file cash disbursements and P-card disbursements.
We do have some of our department heads here and would like to invite you if you'd like to come address council about some of the bids. Do you want me to say, yeah, go ahead, come on, Leo, you have a number of them. That way, if we have questions, you're there and ready.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. The only one that I prepared directly myself was 7B, which was the sewer easement to the sanitation district, so I can certainly speak on that one. The other ones I might need a little help from Ryan or others to get that. The sanitation district easement is the second part of an easement for a sanitary sewer line that was installed along the north bank of the Arkansas River. I believe it was done about a year ago. The council processed the first part of that easement in May of 2022, and I think we, at the time, just missed getting the second half of that easement included. So as it was getting recorded and working through the process, the sanitation district noted that they only had half of the easement they needed. So we're here today to request that be adopted.
Councilmember Tracy?
Just to clarify that a little bit more, is it, so the technical difficulty was that we approved just half in terms of the length, so like half of the width for the full length, and now we're doing the other half?
It was actually, there's two separate parcels involved, so
Okay.
you approved the piece coming
One
from
end.
First Street to the east, and then the other piece is what's here before you tonight. So
Okay,
it's kind of the
like
second
part of the
half.
whole length, and then now we're
Yeah,
looking at the other part.
exactly.
Thank you, that's all I needed.
Excellent. Thank you, Lee. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here and your lovely family as well. That's wonderful. Travis?
So mine is the Kahuna, the change order above approved bid. So this project kind of dates back to 2020, was the original bid approval year. Due to supply chain issues with COVID, we had some serious issues in procurement of the VFDs. Those were on us to handle, so we decided to get those separately from the contractor, and kind of due to the world changing as we know it, it took a couple of years to get those, so here we are. But we are at, project end now, so we just needed a little more to get across the finish line. We kind of had to split those two, or that project into two. So there's two pump stations. We split it into the individual pump stations to put the equipment in. Reason for that is, as my email kind of stated, we had separate rebates for each of those pump stations. And those are kind of good as long as the money's there, and when money's gone, we don't get those rebates anymore. So we did do the low head pump station first to make sure we got that rebate. We received that check a month or two ago, and that was for $45,000. So that was an important one to get, and then the large one we're still hoping to get, but we'll find out that this week whether we do or not. So any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And for council's benefit and the listening public, a VFD is a variable frequency drive.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Councilmember Schmischer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to commend the Water Department for your continuous effort to save money and figure out ways to make sure that we are getting the rebates that we can and the refunds that we can and the lower prices where we can. So just appreciate it and appreciate your follow-up to the questions that we had earlier today as well. Thank you.
Problem.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
I note that under the as-built drawings, a part of the contract, it does not specify at what form those drawings are, only on, it just says media acceptable to the city, essentially. Don't forget it, sometimes you want paper and electronic copies, and it would be good to have that in maybe perhaps future contracts, that the as-built drawings are both physical and electronic, in a format approved by you or something like that. But I've seen a lot of fights over that deliverable.
Understood.
Thank you.
Travis, Does your department have anything to do with the water distribution dump
Yes, ma'am.
truck?
Yeah, so that's for a tandem truck. So we originally had more of a flatbed style truck budgeted, but through some other savings that we had with our service truck, we had a little more money in there. So we decided to try to go for that larger tandem style dump truck. And that'll kind of enable us to do more construction style projects because those will hold just a lot more volume. And so that'll kind of enable us to do larger projects in the future. That's kind of the way we want to trend. So that's kind of the start of building equipment up.
And how old is that flatbed? And
Oh, gosh, you're going to get me on that one. I believe it's 2003, but I'd have to check.
what's the necessity for replacing it?
Just age, and I'm starting to catch a lot of monies in repair and maintenance.
Maintenance and upkeep is
Yeah.
increasing on it due to its age.
You got it.
Okay. This is probably not a question for you, probably more for Jim Johnson, but looks like this is another vehicle that's 18 to 24 months out from receiving it. Are we starting to plan ahead, like, okay, we're gonna need to replace a vehicle in 2 years, we better put our name in the hat now, kind of thing, or are we still keeping our fingers crossed for correction of the
Yeah, I think,
industry?
some of these types of vehicles, like a tandem dump truck, they have long lead times to begin with. Sometimes up to 9 months. I would say back in the normal days, pre-COVID. But, with those supply shortages and the backlogs now, we are seeing those longer lead times, so 18 to 24 months on a lead time for this. So we have written this in a way that, we would roll the funds over from year to year until that tandem dump truck comes in, because there's no other way to order, given the, local government procurement regulations. And we've run this by Catherine and the attorneys to make sure that we are compliant with all of those regulations. But yes, I think, going back to the original question, yes, we are looking at that as far as planning goes.
Okay, excellent. Any more questions for Travis? Excellent, thank you again for being here.
Problem?
Any questions for Ryan? Well, saying that, we can certainly take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda and agenda as written.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call a vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Schmisher?
Aye.
Stein?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Worthington?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
All right, excellent. Thank you, staff, very much, and thank you, council. We only have one other item left on our agenda, and that's our administrator's report tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. You have the written report in the packet. Happy to answer any questions. In addition to the written report, I'd sent out an email, but we didn't hear back from everybody. We received responses back for the Water Committee, but we didn't receive any responses for the recreation seat. What we would like to do is put the application period out for another 2 weeks and see if we can get any additional respondents to that, and be happy to take that feedback now.
If you do the 2 more weeks, are you going to do some active, like reaching out to those industries to encourage an
Yes.
application? Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
And I would just mention that I did talk to a former councilman who is active in the rafting area, and told him of the city's need for someone on the water committee from that particular segment. And he said he was going to try and twist some arms. That was last Wednesday, so
Okay.
there may be someone show up yet, but I'm in favor of extending.
All right, thumbs up for extending.
Okay.
Hopefully, something will come up, but I do recall when we formed the committee that some representatives from the recreation industry were like, we have so many different hats on already, there's no way we can add one more, so after 2 weeks, we may just need to move ahead.
Absolutely. If we don't have any more after 2 weeks, then we'll go ahead and present what we have.
Excellent. I would just like to note that on the human resources segment of the administrator's report, I don't know if I recall having a lot of human resources before, but I've never gotten a chart like this one for the turnover rate, and just want to say that I'm really happy to see the addition of that department in the report. And because this is new, I was really curious about those turnover rates. I mean, how are we doing compared to past? Do we know, or is this just new is this our baseline?
No, I've received these types of reports, since Butch has started. We've started implementing more of this. So you'll see these in the administrator report on a probably once a month basis. A turnover rate of just under 12% for full-time employees in the government sector is a very strong number.
Excellent. And I was curious for the part-time, that is a higher number. Is that because of seasonal work, or could there be other things?
I will have to ask and see if they had seasonal included in the part-time numbers.
Okay.
But we also don't have as many part-time positions, so when somebody leaves.
One leaves, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it totally skews the data. Councilmember Schmisha, or Schmisha.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also just wanted to thank you for having more stats in the report as well, and was wondering if in the future with code enforcement, if it would be possible to put a kind of like out of X amount. Right now it says the number of cases open, number of cases closed, but I think it would be really helpful to have the context of out of how many cases are we talking about?
Yep.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Anything
can
else
do
for
that.
Ryan? Oh, Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick, sorry about that.
Yes, the underwater treatment, we're tearing down the treatment house, is that right? That old house that was record storage, kind of?
Well, we're rehabbing it. We're not tearing it down.
Rehabbing, so it's going to be rehabbing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I do have a couple other things, but I would point out that under planning and zoning, the administrator did go with a bank representative door to door to help straighten out a sticky ownership in home owner association issue, and I don't know of many administrators that are willing to do that, and thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was above and beyond to be business friendly and help our community. How did it go?
I think we probably reached just over 50% of the people at home. I know the banker was planning on going out many more times that week, so I've not received any updates from him. But I think that initial outreach was positive.
Thank you so much. And we do appreciate all that you do.
One more thing.
Yes.
Under the economic development, I note that there was a downtown partnership board meeting, March 14th perhaps, and I look forward to hearing a little bit more details in our next council meeting.
Okay, great.
I was there as well,
Oh, wow.
so I can add to it if you would wish. I was really glad to see a lot of partners there. Yeah, it was really a robust discussion. Oh, wait, was that the one? Maybe I wasn't at that one. Was that another
This
one?
would have been last Tuesday.
Oh, no, I was not at that one. I was on the before that. Okay, yeah, I would like to hear about that too. My brain's already gone. Like, this is a short meeting, it's time to adjourn.
Yeah, Rick submitted his report for the administrator's report prior to that meeting, so
Okay.
we'll have an update the next time he submits.
You had a very graceful face on when I said that, like, mayor's going crazy, but hey, let's just move forward.
I wasn't at it either, so.
Okay, well, I think if there's no further discussion, we probably should adjourn before I really mess something else up. So this meeting is adjourned.